Okay, so you wanted a deep dive. Buckle up, because
Right.
today we're going deep into some seriously interesting um, territory.
Yeah, sounds a little ominous.
Well, might feel like it, actually. We're
Oh.
talking Elon Musk, Donald Trump, round two of the Trump presidency, all that good stuff.
And just to spice things up, we've got Stephen King chiming in with, well, a pretty chilling take on the whole thing.
Exactly. The master of horror himself seems a little spooked, and we're going to find out why. We're diving into what King had to say on Threads, that new platform everyone's on.
Yeah.
And, well, let's just say he didn't hold back.
No, not at all.
So King pretty much dropped a bombshell saying that Elon Musk is running the show, quote unquote.
Yikes.
Yeah, right. The thing is, Musk doesn't hold any elected office, so how's he running the show? And King, being King, points out the irony. Musk was born in Pretoria, South Africa. Not exactly
Yeah.
prime U.S. presidential material, right?
Huh? No, not quite. You hit the nail on the head with that irony bit. It's fascinating how King uses that to highlight a bigger point. He's basically poking at this idea of unelected influence in a system that's, well, supposed to be about elected officials.
Exactly. And King's not just throwing shade for fun. He's actually tapping into a real fear people have, especially now.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, his own fans are saying this whole situation is scarier than his novels.
Mhm.
Someone even suggested you write a horror book about Musk called Maximum Overfried.
Maximum overfried. That's pretty good, actually. But you know what's even more telling is the reaction, right? I mean, if people are finding reality is scarier than Stephen King's imagination,
We might be in trouble.
yeah, it definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It's like King's tapping into this collective anxiety we have about, like, the erosion of democracy or something.
Totally. It's like who's really in control? It's this unease about power dynamics shifting in ways we don't fully understand, and that's unnerving.
Absolutely. And it's not like this is King's first rodeo with criticizing people in power. He's called out plenty of folks before, but this time, it's not just about Musk's beliefs or whatever. It's about the potential influence he might have on Trump now that Trump's gearing up for a second term.
And that's where things get really interesting, right? Because you have these two larger-than-life figures, Trump and Musk, with this, well, somewhat undefined relationship. And it makes you wonder, how will that dynamic play out in a second Trump administration?
Especially since some Republicans were even tossing around Musk's name for Speaker of the House, which is
Wild, like really
so
wild.
those listening who maybe aren't super familiar with U.S. politics,
Or maybe they just blocked it out.
totally understandable. Can you break down what the Speaker of the House actually does and why suggesting Musk for that role is such a big deal?
Right. So, Speaker of the House, that's basically the boss of the House of Representatives. They set the agenda, decide what gets voted on. It's a seriously powerful position. And they're second in line to the presidency just after the vice president. No pressure. Seriously. And the fact that people were even thinking about Musk for that role, I mean, the guy's never held elected office. It really shows you the level of influence he has, especially within the Republican Party.
Yeah, and it makes you think about how these unofficial power dynamics could, actually play out in a Trump administration.
Exactly. It raises this question of checks and balances, right? Because we have this system designed to prevent any one person or branch of government from having too much power.
The whole separation of powers thing, right?
Exactly. But how do you apply that to someone who's not even elected? That's uncharted territory. It's like the system wasn't built for this kind of situation? Makes you wonder if we need some new rules for the game.
Yeah, it's pretty unsettling when you think about it. I mean, Stephen King, the king of horror, is basically saying that this whole Musk-Trump situation is a real-life horror story in the making.
And honestly, based on the reactions we've seen, a lot of people seem to agree with him. It's like this primal fear of the unknown, like what happens when the rules we thought we knew no longer apply. It's pretty heavy stuff.
Heavy indeed. It's like a real-life Twilight Zone episode, and we're all stuck in it.
And we don't even know the ending yet. So, listeners, think about it. How could this unprecedented dynamic affect your life, your community? What happens when unelected individuals hold this much sway over our elected officials? It's a question we all need to consider, especially as we move forward in this, well, increasingly strange world.
Strange indeed. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on this unfolding story and, maybe stock up on some flashlights and canned goods, just in case.
Never hurts to be prepared. But seriously, folks, stay engaged, stay informed, and let's see where this wild ride takes us. Who knows? Maybe there's a good Stephen King finish waiting for us at the end of it all.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.